So grab 2 blocks and a blanket, and we're gonna take our blanket first and start on our belly. And we'll sort of just get centered and do a little bit of breath work and settling in there. So we're gonna take our blanket and roll it up. And remembering that the tighter you roll it, the thicker you roll it, it may be a little bit more intense. So you're gonna place the blanket between your belly button and your pubic bone. And we're gonna lie right down on it. And we're not looking for anything major, sort of settling in. So if immediately this feels too much, unroll the blanket a little bit. And just get it where you can extend the legs. They're comfortably distanced for the low back. And then as you breathe in, you feel your belly pressing into the blanket. And as you breathe out, they're sort of like this descending into the blanket. So the breathing in, the belly fills up and presses into the blanket. And as you exhale, letting your weight surrender. Now I'm on my elbows, but maybe it feels good for you to come down onto your hands. Or if you have a block, you could always rest your head there. And if this is comfortable, then I encourage you to stay here. We'll be here for a couple of minutes. But if it's not comfortable, then come to a comfortable seat. And as we start to give more attention to the breath, let's see if we can settle into just being with whatever it is that comes up for us as we get more still. Whether there's some subtle thoughts filtering in and out as you try to re-anchor on the breath and sensations. Or if there is something that is consistently popping up that's annoying or frustrating, or just some thoughts running over and over through the brain. See if you can be present with whatever is, whatever those thoughts are, and welcome them. Just like we welcome sensations, staying away from pain, but just welcoming sensations. Welcoming yourself, maybe literally saying, welcome self to this moment, to this body, to these thoughts. And continuing to inhale the breath, maybe pausing at the top and exhaling out super long. Doing that a couple more times, starting to breathe in, filling up, full inhale. And exhaling long and empty. Maybe you even want to count, breathing in to the count of 1, really lengthening out that 1. And emptying out 2. And then continue like this, finding your own rhythm, breathing in to the count of 1. Pausing at the top, and then exhaling, counting the number just 2. Some more rounds here, just letting the breath bring you back to this moment, welcoming it as an observer, whatever thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations arise. And our practice tonight it's very much about the subtle. We'll move through some warm up and then flow. Leave some time to cool down and relax. But this is a sequence I like to do that's especially boosting to the immune system. So we'll be doing some like pumping of the hand to help with the lymphatic system, to help support the process in our body, to help drain out or flush. And it's a natural way, but just support the process as we go. We are just a couple more rounds, but as always, take what you need and leave the rest out. If you're looking to increase the energy, you can always add some more Kapalabhati. We'll do a little of that. And if you need to slow it down, then make sure your exhales are nice and long, longer than your inhales. And after your next full exhale, emptying out, let's go on and lift ourselves up, and we're going to come onto our back just briefly. I like to neutralize my spine on my back. You could do child's pose. Sometimes that works, but after a full day, I like taking a moment to just come onto my back. You're just noticing, maybe you were already here waiting for class to start. Maybe you haven't been here since this morning when you first woke. Maybe you were lucky enough to get a siesta in there somewhere. And maybe the knees right now are knocking towards one another, opening up some space in the lower back. Noticing how the belly feels as you breathe in without the blanket there, without the resistance, and how the belly draws back in. A few more times like that, and we will regularly be using the breath as this pump to help the lymphatic system to really, especially when we inhale, bringing in some compression and engaging the diaphragm. We'll be using compression with the leg a bit. And as we exhale, just lengthening in and letting go. Again, supporting a natural process as we go. So from here, let's get started. Let's draw the knees into the chest and rock a little bit side to side. If you find you want to come into a spinal twist and linger on one side, do that for a few breaths. But if you want to just rock back and forth, starting to do a little bit of core engagement like this, just rocking, never fully getting the knees down, but maybe going about halfway until you feel sensation, or maybe only 30% because you start to feel the core engage. And if you are still on one side, go on and switch to the other. And if you're rocking, notice if you're rushing it and see if you can slow it down. Adding in a bit of a twisting action, awakening to the spine, even the hips, the chest, and upper back. And with your next exhale, let's come back to center if you were lingering on one side. Cross the ankles and rock the body up to a seat. So we'll do a little bit for the neck and shoulders. So if you want to grab a blanket, go on and grab a blanket to sit on. I'm going to unroll my blanket and just notice not have it be as round. I'm going to come to whatever is comfortable. So maybe you're sitting on your heels, maybe you're sitting cross-legged, maybe you grab a block and you sit on that. You can modify as we go. This first one, what we're going to do is we're going to twist to the right. So I'm not mirroring you, but we're going to twist to the right and turn our head to the left. So twisting to the right, and then my head is turning to the left. And then I'm going to try to drop my left ear towards my left shoulder, only so much that I start to feel sensation on the right side. Just a couple more breaths here. So we're going for some sensation down the right side of the neck. Lots of lymph nodes found in this area. So we're bringing a bit of stretch and a bit of compression on the other side. Good. Your next inhale, come back to center. Now take your next inhale and twist, turn your head, and your exhale, come back to center. And we're gonna start the flow here. Inhale, turn the head, twist. Exhale, back to center. 2 more like that. Inhale, turn the head as you twist. Back to center on the exhale. Inhale, twist, turn the head. And exhale, back to center. Pause at center. Big in breath. And exhale, maybe open your mouth and let everything go. Let's move right to the other side. Let's start with a little bit longer of a hold, twisting to the left, and then I'm going to start to turn my head and then play around with maybe dropping right here the shoulder or maybe lengthening my chin away, just so I feel some subtle sensation. It doesn't have to be a tug. Maybe it's like a gentle, as you start to feel the tug, you stop there. And I encourage you to be generous with yourself. And is generous the same as being gentle? Is generous, what does generous actually look like here in your body? Is it how you respond to the thoughts or how hard you try? And now the next time you exhale, since that's the pattern, we're exhaling out of the pose, back to center. And then inhale, take your twist, turn the head, long inhale in. Exhale, take it back to center. Inhale the breath, turn the head. Maybe you pause at the top before you exhale back to center. And 2 more times, twisting, turning. On your rhythm, exhale, center, last one. Twisting in the head. And back to center. Pause here, full breath in. Full breath out. Let the eyes open and take your right hand to the side. You can maybe turn the wrist if that feels more comfortable, or fingers point out or forward. We're going to take our right hand to the floor. If you need to switch positions, go for it. And we're going to take our left arm across past the ear. Now this is where we're going to play around with pumping the fist initially. I'm literally just opening and closing my hand. It doesn't have to be really rough and aggressive. It's just open and close it. This is sort of that contraction, a little bit of compressing. And the next time you're ready to exhale, let's come upright. Now inhale, hold the breath at the top and do 2 fist pumps, 1 or 2. And then as you exhale, come back to center. Let that left arm just either touch the ground or hover. And then move at your own pace. We'll do 5 to 7 more. The inhale, couple of fist pumps. Hold the breath as you move that fist. Exhale, come back for center. Inhale, 1 or 2 fist pumps, depending on the length of your breath. Exhale, back to center, hover or drop. Good, a few more here. Never forcing the breath. Okay, this will be our last one to that side. And then come back to center. Meet right back up in center. And then go on and switch sides. We'll pause in the first one, just sort of feeling it out. Reaching your hand maybe towards the sky. Hips drop. Good, and then come on up. Find center. And now go on at your own rhythm. We'll do again about 5 to 7, depending on your pace. Opening and closing at the top of the breath. So see if you can hold the breath as you open and close. And exhale back to center. The inhale brings you over. Pause with the breath. Open and close that hand. Back to center. My understanding of our lymphatic system, which is like the cleanup crew, like it doesn't actually pump on its own. So some of this pumping we're doing is to support that process. It relies on circulation to help, but we're just doing a little bit extra to help do this. Good, and back to center. Notice, pause and center. And without getting too much into the science or too heady about it, just take the time to notice. That to me is what the yoga really is. Pausing and noticing how it feels in your body. When you get through your next exhale, open the eyes and let's come up to hands and knees briefly, and then we'll start to bring in some more movement. So we're gonna come to hands and knees. And let's just move through a little bit of child's pose and bird dog. So we're gonna make it a little bit more like a modified. I'm tucking my toes, extending my arms, my head's not even gonna reach the ground, at least for me. And then as I exhale, I'm gonna come forward long. Exhale, extend my right leg long behind me. My hips point down. When I come back to my inhale, I'm gonna shift the hips back, adding a bit of compression towards the groin area, the upper thighs. And then I'm gonna switch to my left side as I exhale, bird dog. So see if you can find that cadence that works for you. Maybe you take an extra breath in there. Maybe you're just doing that one count in, one count out. Finding a rhythm that works for you tonight. So the practice is here in this moment, however you are. Now it's a little different than we usually use. Remember, the exhale is in bird dog and the inhale is in child's pose. Often we'll exhale, but this time, exhale, bird dog. Inhale as we shift the pressure. Good. It's that shifting of the pressure that doesn't have to be intense. It's just literally like walking shifts the pressure around our lymph nodes. So thinking about this as subtle as power, right? It's like when we say stillness is a superpower. Let's do one more right. One more. Child on the right. Child with the right. One more left. Good. And then after your next inhale, we'll come back to center. Good. Let's come to low lunge. Let's come right up into low lunge. Right leg comes forward. If you want your blocks, you can use your blocks now. Let me turn around here. So my right leg is forward. And we're going to inhale, lift the right arm up. Now, here's where if that pumping action felt accessible, as we inhale, we're gonna pump the hand, and whenever you're ready to exhale, start to circle the arm back behind you. Finding a lunge that is accessible, the inhale up, pause, hold the breath, pump, and exhale, take that circling arm all the way back. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, arm lifts up. Exhale, it comes back. Inhale up like a windmill with your arm. Good. From there, let's go on and just switch sides. So take your time if you're just getting there, but we'll switch sides to the left side. And again, start with the arm up. You're gonna work on that pumping. Pause, and then exhale, opening up the front of the chest. Inhale, the arm is up. We pause the breath or hold it or abide in the breath. And then exhale, lengthen and spiral the arm. Yeah, like a windmill going round, pausing at the top. And exhaling, reaching behind. Maybe you've got one more in there. Good. And And then from here, well, let's take downward dog. It's one downward dog here just to feel out what it's like to be in an inverted V. Maybe bending the knees so you can push the hands forward. Pressing into the mounds of your feet and then spreading the heels apart. They won't literally move, but so you can engage the legs. Making sure you can shift the weight back so there's not really too much weight around the neck or the upper shoulders. And then lift the belly up towards the spine, letting the chest ascend towards your legs. Your exhale, open up the mouth, let the breath go. Your inhale, go on and start to look forward, walk the feet forward. And coming to a forward fold, Uttanasana. Hands rest somewhere, let the head fully release. Inhale halfway up whenever you're ready. Exhale, fold it down and let the head drop. Good, next time, inhale fully up, rise all the way up to standing. Reaching the arms up towards the sky or ceiling. And exhale, hands come right in front of your heart. Now we're gonna go in and grab our blocks if you have them, and you may or may not need them. So I know I need them for Malasana. I'm gonna put them on their second height. Now, if you can squat comfortably, you're gonna come to a nice wide squat. If you don't have blocks, you can also roll up your blanket or fold it up and put the arch and heels. But we're gonna be here for a few breaths. So see if you can get somewhere comfortable. And now we're gonna do some Kapalabhati. So you can also roll up the edge of your mat. Make sure you're on something stable. And so Kapalabhati is a rapid exhale through the nose, and the inhale is always happening. So it sounds like this. So I'm just breathing rapidly through the nose. I know some of you have done it with me, but it's like you were blowing candles out through your nose rather than your mouth. So if you can imagine blowing out candles through your nose, then that's what we're gonna try to do. So we'll do it, maybe you can get through like 30 rounds of it. And we'll start with an exhale. And as you inhale, draw the breath in and pump out through the nose. The belly moves back and forth, always a quick inhale. And you can even try to slow it down if it feels like it's going all haywire. Just try to even slow down that. Maybe you can feel your belly drawing back towards the spine. When you get to around 30, or maybe you've gone beyond and 45 seconds there pumping, fully exhale the breath out. And whenever you get to that count, and open the mouth and just let the breath be natural. And then open the eyes if the eyes are closed. And let's go on and lift up. You can move those out of the way. And we're gonna come up into downward facing dog. We're gonna come down into downward facing dog. So from downward facing dog, we're gonna come forward to a high push-up. So go on and take the body forward. You can drop the knees. The chest is forward. And lower everything down onto your belly. Just adding in a little sun salute here, or one sun salute. As you inhale, lift halfway up. Come into cobra pose. And exhale, release it down. Coming up through hands and knees, or back for downward dog. From here, after you exhale, drop the knees. And we're gonna roll to our right side Vasisthasana. So I'm gonna kick my right foot out the side, stack right shoulder over right hand, and open up my left arm towards the ceiling. Maybe it feels good to hover your left leg. I might have just said, I should have said my left arm is reaching to the ceiling. I'm not sure if that's what I said. Left arm up, left leg hovering. Now what we're gonna do is come into what I know, what my teacher Tiffany calls like a catcher squat. So as you inhale, come back, sit on your right foot and bend the left knee. So now I'm coming to like this squat. I'm bending my right knee, it's tucked underneath me, and my left foot is on the ground like in a lunge pose. Yeah, yeah. And then if you got that from there, we're gonna go exhale, Vasisthasana, hover that right leg, hover the left leg, left arm up, and inhale, compress, and come into this catcher squat. Yeah, looks like our Montana friends have it. I can see you both, so looking good. And now keep working on the breath. The exhale is Vasisthasana, finding your variation. The inhale, we find some compression. Maybe you find the balance or you use your hands. Let's do 3 more like that. Vasisthasana as you exhale, a variation. You can always keep the foot down if balance is challenging tonight. And inhale to your squat. Good. Last one. Pause at the inhale. Next time you exhale, come into your Vasisthasana briefly on the right. And then exhale again as you make your way through to the other side. So we'll go right to the other side. I'll turn around. And we'll feel our way through left side Vasisthasana. And then as you know where we're going this time, come on into your catcher squat. Good. Inhale up, or exhale up, sorry. Sometimes I go on autopilot. And the inhale is that compression around the joints where the lymph nodes are to change the pressure, help boost the circulation of the lymphatic system, flushing what we don't need. So like the breath helps pump and circulate, supporting the process in the body. Good. And just flowing through. Again, noticing just how you feel as you go. That right foot could be down or up. Do 1 more here. Good, then from Vasisthasana, you'll come back to that left side. Let's come back to hands and knees, and let's briefly come to child's pose. Nice evening out through the back. Your variation of child's pose. Toes tucked, untucked. Head down or arms in. Inviting the breath into the belly. Exhale, letting the breath release. Let's do a couple more rounds like that of utilizing the breath. Allowing yourself to feel whatever you feel as you breathe in and exhale fully to let it out. Whenever you get through your next exhale, go on and lift the body up. And let's come to low lunge with the right leg forward. And I'm gonna show you a variation here of my blocks. They're not necessary, but if you have it, sometimes I like playing around in down dog with the blocks. So we're gonna come to a low lunge first, and my back knee is down. As I exhale, I'm gonna come into downward dog, lift the right leg, my hands are balanced on the blocks. Now you could do this without. Inhale, come back to your low lunge. Exhale, swipe the right leg back, downward facing dog. We keep moving like that. Inhale, there's that compression in the groin, the head lifts. My exhale, I sweep back my right leg. Good, a few more like that. Now the blocks just help lift the floor up. Maybe in your down dog, you even want to open the hip by bending that right knee. Finding a variation that feels healthful to you tonight. think I just said the word healthful, which was a helpful and healthy and mindful all combined, which is all a good thing. So keep flowing with the breath. Good. We'll do one more from lunge to your down dog with the leg up. We'll pause briefly with the right leg forward lunge. And exhale, let's come through downward facing dog. If you want to add in a vinyasa, or if you want to pause in child briefly, take your pose and make your way to the other side. So finding your transition to end up with a left leg in lunge, right leg down. Again, blocks are an option here, or books or anything like that. And then as you're ready, we're going to sweep that left leg up, downward facing dog, left leg in the air. Inhale, moving through this compression on the front leg. Exhale, downward dog, maybe leg extends or opening up that right hip. Yeah, let's move through 3 or 4 more. Remembering the inhale is that low lunge, and the exhale is the extension. Last one through. Good. We'll meet in low lunge briefly. Left leg forward. And then coming on to your knees, we're going to do a pretty brief myofascial release in there to help with the side, because we're going to do another down dog plank. So I think most of us tend to be tight in the upper back and the front of the chest from just our daily lifestyle. So grab a block, or you can roll up your mat. If you just have a mat there, you can roll up your mat enough, and we're going to take that block right into our armpit. So I'm going to take the block on its second height, or your foam roller, and I'm going to put the top edge into my armpit, and the bottom edge is like in the ribs. And I'm going to rock back and forth. My head is supported with my hand. And I'm going to rock until I find a spot that maybe feels a little more tender. Maybe you want to add a little more pressure towards the pecs, the front of the chest. Or maybe it's really about the side ribs and the muscles that are supporting the rotator cuff, or the lats, which come up alongside the side and connect into the arm. Either way, find something that feels like you can breathe in and isn't painful. As always, like if you shift up an inch, you may be like, oh, that spot. We'll be here another 3 to 5 breaths max. Oh yeah, that little bit of shift really made a difference. Like at the beginning, can you settle into gravity here? Like really letting your body descend as you exhale. Maybe for you, closing the eyes helps really be in the sensation, and maybe the stimuli of the room around you kind of settles. Or maybe just by closing your eyes, you can hear the sounds of what's going on outside. Your windows are open. Or if there's other people in your house, you just kind of become tuned into what's going on beyond your immediate breath. And after this next exhale, let's go on and switch sides. Make your way over to the left side. And you're gonna, again, play around. This one's way more tender right away. And just notice, just like when we began, the beauty of this time is really about pausing long enough just to come as we are. Notice what is, both physically and emotionally, mentally. And see if we can just be like an explorer, observing, noticing what comes up as we rock side to side. As we settle long enough to notice without reacting to our thoughts. As we slow down enough to hear the sounds around us and within us. We feel our connection to something bigger than just us. Or bigger to our worries, which are real. Maybe rather than rocking or being more still, you found a spot that feels tender, but something you can breathe into and soften into rather than clench up from. So we're looking for that sweet spot of some sensation, but also some relaxation. And then the next exhale, let's come onto our back super briefly. Just really like to notice with this one, just pausing before we come right into downward dog. So let's pause just on our backs. That left side will be a little bit more noticeable perhaps. Noticing both that area and then the parts further away. And then seeing yourself in downward dog before you even get there. Like you don't even have to move yet. So just that power of visualization, seeing yourself there, feeling, noticing. And then open your eyes and let's come into down dog. So again, we're gonna move through a down dog flow here. So wherever you want to find your way there, noticing maybe any subtle differences or not in that area under the armpits and the sides of the rib, maybe even across the chest. Now what we're gonna do, let's go through it first and then we'll link in the breath. So we're gonna come forward to a plank position and we're gonna hover our right leg in the air. Now if that's too much, you can always drop the knee down and it's like a bird dog. When we come into down dog, we're going to move into downward dog. We're going to draw our right knee towards the chest, similar to like we've been doing, bringing knee into the chest. So our exhale is going to be a version of plank, leg hovers. Our inhale is down dog, but knee to chest. Let's see if we can move through about 5 of those. Exhale out. Remember, always modifying or even just pausing and visualizing as you're on your knees. Exhale out, supporting the upper body properly. Down dog. I'm going to go for 3 more, see if I can move through that. Exhale and lengthen out. Inhale in. Last one. Good, and then I'm going to come to down dog. I'm going to give my arms a break. If you want to move through a vinyasa, you can move through a sun salute. Maybe take child's pose, some variation that feels beneficial in the chest. Maybe even like child's pose with reverse prayer feels good, getting the backs of the arms and the whole back. And then next couple of breaths. Let's see what we can do on the other side. So setting up, tucking the toes. Whenever you're ready, fully empty out the breath. And then the inhale will be the left knee comes in. And then I'm going to exhale, get nice and long in down dog hover. I'm in plank hover. My brain. Good. Inhale is down dog, knee to chest. Exhale, plank hover. Good. 3 more if you have that in you. Working with the breath. It's going to be my last one. Good. I'm going to drop down and then moving through vinyasa, child's pose, or like an Anjali prayer. Child's pose. Bottom of your next exhale. Come on up and let's come into lunge. We're gonna move through 2 more lunge series. So this is with the right leg forward. I'm gonna come into high lunge here. As you're ready, take your time. Knee and lunge. Now I'm gonna give you the option. So either lunge might be how you move through this, or you take the back foot down, and it's a little bit more of it's a warrior stance. So either crescent or lunge. And where we're gonna go is we're gonna fly the body forward. My arms are right now just reaching alongside my body. And then as I inhale, I'm gonna straighten my front leg and lift my arms up. And then I'm gonna fly forward just to get the rhythm that we're going in. Now, exhale is gonna end up being the straight leg, arms up. And inhale is going to be this flying forward, compressing. Exhale as you lift up. Inhale, fly. Good. Notice what happens if you're trying to fly and the balance is coming off. Let's do one more. See how you respond. Good. Now we're gonna come through Tadasana. Lift the arms up in Tadasana. Let's come briefly into Utkatasana, sitting back in your seat. Maybe opening up the arms to cactus, belly back. And then inhale, Tadasana. Good. Take the other leg back. Right leg goes back. And now again, so just see what works. Maybe for you, you take more of a warrior pose here as you lift the arms up. And then as you inhale, fly it forward, drawing left hip back. Good. Playing around with what works for you. Maybe this side is different. If your lower back is kind of sensitive, I'd recommend staying more with the forward facing. So arms up as you lengthen the leg, and then exhale, inhale, fly it forward. Exhale. Being generous as you move through the breath. Pumping the breath to support this intricate system, always happening within, whether we do anything to support it or not. Let's do one more. Good. Let's come through down dog. Maybe you take a vinyasa. Maybe you come through child or just hold down dog. We're going to do one more standing pose here. As you're ready, let's take the right leg forward. And come on up. And we're going to come through a twist. And let me see, I can turn to face you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start to twist. So just like we did, so this is going to be a little variation. We're going to straighten the front leg and twist to the right. So remember when we were seated, we did this. We twisted to the right and turned our head in the opposite direction. And then we exhale, we're going to come and bend the front leg and open up the chest for cactus. Belly back, just a lengthening in the tailbone. Good, now on your time. Now this is again, maybe that back foot is in a warrior pose as you take it forward and twist. I find having my hips pointing forward is way more manageable. As I twist, turn my head on the inhale. My exhale is a high lunge cactus. My inhale is straightening that front leg, twisting from the ribs, turning to the left. And my exhale, long, and I open up the chest, extending the elbows out. Good, let's move through a few more here. Always remembering there's choice here if the stance isn't working. Exhale. Inhale. Good. One more to the right. One more to center. And let's come through Tadasana again. So feet up at the top of the mat. Notice. Pause. Just to fully be present in the whole body. And at the bottom of your exhale, go on and switch sides. So finding your stance, just noticing right away, the side's going to be a little different. If you have a wall or you need for balance, head on over to that. If balance is a little bit tricky tonight, you can always use the wall to support you. So remember, as you're ready to inhale, come into your twist, straighten your leg. Arms reaching to the side, and I'm turning my head to the opposite side. And I don't have to crank it. I just want to start to feel some sensation in that left side. And then when I'm ready to exhale, I'm going to come into, you can make it just cactus with the ribs drawing back, or you could take it a little bit more into an upper back bend. And then finding a cadence that works for you, where you revolve the body from the middle, from the ribs. And you exhale, take it back through center. Cactus. Straighten the leg, twist. Exhale, cactus. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, let's do one or two more here, depending on your pace. If you could just welcome whatever arises here. Pausing here in this exhale. Tadasana. Finding your Tadasana. And releasing Tadasana. And we're going to come down. We're going to briefly come through pigeon pose before we come onto our backs. So I'm going to let you choose if you know your knees are good for this and your back and your glutes. You're going to come to pigeon on the right side. The right leg is forward and the left leg is back. If that is not your potion tonight, if pigeon is something you tend to stay away from for whatever reason, then come onto your back and we'll do this figure four. So we're getting a bit into the outer hip and bringing some compression once again into the groin. Now, if you want to add a little bit more, you don't need to, but just something to keep in your pocket to think. You could always add like a blanket here. Roll it up, tuck it right into your groin and hip area, come into pigeon, and then you have a little bit more compression like when we started class. You have a little bit more compression going into the groin and belly. But just an option to just keep in your toolkit, and maybe we'll do this one next week when we move through a similar sequence. So we'll take another 5 to 8 breaths here in pigeon. Those can be tucked or untucked. Keeping the practice breath centered. Remembering it's just even this change in pressure is what we're looking for to support. Now, as we get ready to come out of the pose, if there's anything you need, if you want to come into down dog or there's something you like to do after pigeon, begin to move your body into that, and we're going to switch to the other side. So finding whatever might, maybe that's down dog, right leg lifts, opening up that hip, or just lengthening the leg back out. And then finding your way to opposite side. Again, you have that option with the blanket roll. And I'm literally just making it so there's a bit of compression tucked right in there. You can use a sweatshirt too, if you're going for that. And then pigeon on that left side, or come onto your back and do figure 4. Like a game of Twister. Finding all the different ways to place your body. And then if you're upright or folded, you're really making sure you can let the neck go. If you're looking to stay a little bit more active, then you can always stay more upright. If you're on your back, maybe the eyes are open, or maybe your eyes are closed. Again, finding your expression of being generous with yourself in this pose. So that the breath is assisting, the presence is assisting. And you welcome however it is that you are. And over the next breath or two, we'll make our way out. We'll come into maybe that same counter pose that you did on the other side. And after this, we're going to make our way onto our backs, but have your blanket nearby. So just move through vinyasa or whatever it is. And grab your blanket. Before you get too cozy, let's roll up the blanket. So just like when we started, I'm going to roll that up. Like a mini hot dog, or a mini bolster. And I'm going to lie back on it. You can also use your mat if you don't have a blanket, or you can always roll up your mat. So I'm coming onto my back. I'm sliding the blanket underneath me. I'm gonna pause here first just to get situated and make sure I feel stable, like I'm not gonna slide off. Again, you can use another towel, or you can use a pillow, or you can use your mat rolled up. And then from here, I'm gonna lift my knees into the air. So go on and lift your legs up, lift your legs up and let your knees touch. Now, if this is too much for your hamstrings or the backs of the legs, you can always bend at the knees and ease up a little bit. But having the inner knees touch helps give a little support. Now, this last bit that we're gonna do, just a little bit of compression before we move more into the recovery mode. We're gonna take our right knee into the chest as we inhale. And exhale is going to extend it up. Left leg, inhale, draws in. Exhale, lengthen it up. Good, let's keep moving like that. The right leg hugs in on the inhale. When you hug your right leg in on the inhale. The exhale lengthens up. Switch sides as we move through the breath. Couple more each side. You're on your last one here, right and left. Pausing with the legs straight up in this modified shoulder stand variation. Making sure the lower back feels like it can drape off. The hips are heavy and weighted. The head and shoulders supported with the ground underneath you. Let's do one more here for the outer hips. So you're gonna cross your legs like an eagle legs. Remember, you're still on the blanket, so just be mindful of that. You're gonna cross the legs. My legs are still stacked over my hips. So I didn't draw my legs in. My legs are still stacked over my hips. And I'm just kind of crossing at the thighs. Some of you may be able to take that right foot and tuck behind the left, but it's more about hugging in, getting a subtle stretch through the outer hips, glutes. And then exhale, switch sides. Just trying a new variation here with eagle on a blanket. Eyes hug in, hips heavy. And then release that, bring the feet down, pause. And we're gonna lift the hips and slide the blanket out. And now, if you need to get anything to be cozy and warm, go on and quietly grab a blanket or a sweatshirt, something to cover your eyes with. And we'll shift into Shavasana. And finding any last minute shifts so that your body can be here with the least amount of effort. Letting your body be supported from the ground. If it's helpful to focus on a count of the breath in and out, start to lengthen the exhale count as you go. Maybe just settling into the stillness and quiet for a few minutes is just what you need. So with that in mind, I will be quiet for a couple of minutes to allow you to settle into this space. Letting yourself be wrapped up in the warmth and the tenderness and the generosity of your practice. Now, without any effort, invite the breath back into the belly. Very little amount of effort. Start to invite the breath back in. It's lingering for a few breaths here in Shavasana. The very bottom of your next exhale. Start to roll to your side. Take another breath or so on your side. And make your way up to a comfortable seat. Whatever comfortable looks like for you, have a seat and we'll close out our practice together tonight. Continuing here to extend that generosity to yourself and generosity to those around you, generosity to those outside your home, generosity to the planet, the trees, water, the people, all of us. Come back to one more breath of generosity here to yourself. Moving your hands together in front of your heart or right on your heart. I thank you for your practice. I thank you for your presence. And I hope whenever you need this practice, there's tidbits that you can grab hold of and help support the immune system and a generous heart. Namaste.